You've just cracked into episode 136 of Off the Cut Podcast. Is it 136?
Yes, it is.
Sir.
Okay. Well, good thing. 136 Off the Cut Podcast for Tuesday, October 22nd, 2024. And I tell you what, there's a company out there that's way smoother at introductions than I am. You know who that is?
It's KM Tools, of course. Because if it's in their introduction, it's in their introduction.
Yeah. They've introduced... let's see what I did there.
I know, it's nice, yeah.
They've introduced the world to a wonderful tool store that's for woodworkers by woodworkers, which means it's not full of all sorts of crap. It's either made by Jonathan and his team or some fellow woodworking creators that you probably know and love, or it's been thoroughly tested by him. Can't complain about that.
Or his team. I think, well, I mean, we should clarify with Jonathan whether something,
who does
like if one of his guys gives him the thumbs up, like, hey, Jonathan, I really like this tool, we should include it in the store. Do you think he's like, all right, let's order a crate? Or do you think he's like, give me yours, I gotta try it first?
Yeah.
Because this is Katz Moses tool. That's not like background, like random employees store.
We got Craig from shipping is like, hey, Jonathan.
Yeah, exactly.
That way, that's Jonathan's accent.
No, yeah. Craig from shipping also has Jonathan's voice.
Jonathan's like, hey, buddy, what's up, Craig? And then Craig from shipping is like, hey, Jonathan, hey, buddy. He's like, I saw this sandpaper the other day. Because I was sanding my wood and it was too rough and I had to make it a little smoother. So I tried this sandpaper. And then Jonathan's like, oh, buddy, that's good sandpaper. Yeah, we'll put it in our stores. And that's how the products get tested. It's Craig from receiving that does all the
Did I detect like a hint of a New York accent in Craig?
Yeah. He actually grew up in the Bronx, but got out of there when he was like 7 or 8.
Right.
Moved out to Sacramento.
Or Sacramento, yeah. So Sacramento by way of the Bronx.
Yeah, but I mean, once New York's in you can't get it out.
Exactly.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
All right, where are we in this ad read? I feel like we've gone completely off the rails.
Hey, we're giving him his pay. And if you want to get involved with Katz Moses Tools and get some free stuff from him that you can test for yourself to verify that Craig, was right. All you have to do is head over to patreon.com/offthecut-podcast and sign up for any tier, and you're automatically entered to win a $50 gift card every single month, as well as getting access to the after show, which is another podcast, and tons of other perks. And I've got an announcement about that, Zach. You excited about this?
Yeah, I'm always excited when you're talking about perks.
New patron just joined, baby.
That's right.
Hell yes.
Yeah, brother. Brother.
Hit me with the name.
Matt McDowell. Which, fun fact, Matt is actually the guy who invented dowel joinery.
Oh.
In McDonald's.
Sick move to
in a McDonald's.
Slap your name right on that. Yeah, in a McDonald's. Yeah. It was a co-production between him and Ronald McDonald.
Yeah.
Started with old French fries because they never go old.
Yeah. It started with old French fries. They're like, what would be sweet is if we could join pieces of wood together by drilling a hole and then jamming some fries in there. And Matt McDowell's like, hold my beer.
Hold on. That gives me an idea.
It's like, what if we put wood in there so it's stronger than a French fry and it doesn't go bad? But you said French fries don't actually go bad?
Not the McDonald's ones. They don't rot.
Stop.
Oh, they don't rot? I mean, they don't keep either, though. Like, I've had McDonald's fries the next day, and you're like, what the hell are these? These are horrible.
And you imagine you put that in your body the day before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You ever found one on the floor of your car and then thought, how old is this? You can never tell.
That's a good point. Yeah, you're so true. That is so true. I have found some old-ass fries between, like, the bolster of my seat and the center console.
Same with Cheez-Its.
They look exactly like they did the day I bought them.
Yeah.
Yep.
What's the half-life on a McDonald's fry?
I don't know.
Maybe we should have
uranium.
Yeah.
We should have like an off the cut live view of a McDonald's French fry, and it just time lapse it over like 10 years. We'll cut away to it every once in a
live stream
while.
you can have on YouTube. Does it cut you off after a certain period of time?
That's a great question. I mean, we could just keep resetting it at the start of every day.
Yeah.
I imagine it does.
Make one of those YouTube videos where somebody's like, I took a picture of myself every day for 40 years or something.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. That seems like a lot of work for very little payoff.
Yes, it does.
Right?
Yes, it does.
Well, anyway.
We'd be doing science.
That's
So
right.
can you really put a price on science?
Ask Bill Nye. You know?
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know where I was going with that one, but ask him. Ask him if you can put a price on science. I wouldn't know.
Do you think if you crossed 1 million subscribers on YouTube, you could comfortably approach Bill Nye and be like, hey, can you do a collab with me?
No.
10 million?
Yeah, but I bet you'd have to be north of 5 or 10 million. Like,
yeah.
With all due respect, in our space, 1 million is effing huge.
Yes.
But we also have a pretty
10.
small, we also have a pretty small space in the grand scheme of things. Like in YouTube in general,
Yeah.
there are tons of people who have millions.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Like millions is like
we visited that graph that one time.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Millions is like not even scratching the surface of being like a big YouTuber.
No.
I mean, you could still, don't get me wrong, you can still make a very comfortable living with 1 million subscribers, but you're not.
Well, if you're utilizing it well.
Yeah, you're not even close to Mr. Beast or the 10 guys who are behind, or the 100 guys who are behind Mr. Beast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be cool to meet Bill Nye. I feel like Bill Nye would be a pretty cool guy to have a chat with.
You think so?
Yeah, but I also get the feeling. I've watched some of his more recent stuff. It's super interesting, but it's kind of the point where he's like, yeah, I just get kind of frustrated. I'm very, very high level summarizing this. It's like his frustration with there's so much evidence and research of like how to save the planet and do this and that, and just nothing comes out of it. So he's just like,
yeah.
Like, what do I do? Like,
yes. Yeah.
I try my hardest, and at some point you just say, all right, whatever.
You just got to make some more TV shows. I was always more of a Beekman guy. Did you have Beekman?
That sounds
Not familiar.
Beekman was like a weird, zany version of Bill Nye. Less science, more entertainment. Beekman's World was the name of the show. Look that up.
Oh yeah, that's.
I'm looking at the cover for it. It's ridiculous. I think there was a giant rat was one of the characters on the show.
Yeah, I remember him.
Yeah,
it kind of looks like Martin Short.
It does. Yeah. I wonder what Beekman's up to these days.
Beekman's World. Oh,
yeah. Remember this guy?
Yeah, he looks like a cokehead.
Yeah, a little bit. He's kind of like if Bill Nye had a kid with Ronald McDonald.
And the actor who plays Kramer from Seinfeld.
He's got the Kramer hair, definitely.
Paul Zaloom.
That was his name?
That's the actor's name.
What is he up to these days?
Yeah. It's funny looking up. Whoa, he's in Dante's Inferno? What the hell?
Yeah, he doesn't have any credits since 2007.
He was God in Dante's Inferno. I didn't even know God was a character in Dante's Inferno, but it's been a while since I watched
the 2005 movie?
2007, yeah.
Okay. I was just making sure it wasn't one that was from like the 80s or something like that.
Yeah, no. Yeah, this guy did a bunch of episodes of Beekman's World, and that was basically it outside of playing God. But 79 episodes of Beekman's World. I wonder if he retired off that.
Must have.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Still got royalties.
His Muppet movie credit.
Oh, Muppet movie. Nice.
Did you, speaking of royalties, did Sophie ever get her?
Nah, still working on that. Man. Still working on getting that. I know. You ever have like a project that your spouse is doing and you kind of just want to take it over?
Oh, no.
I know I can't. But I'm like, give it to me. I can do this.
Yeah.
Just give it to me. But I had to, take a step back, let her do her own process, let it,
One of the best pieces of advice I ever got was like along the lines of like dealing with your spouse or whatever, is like when they tell you something, I always ask, are you looking for support or a solution?
Oh,
and a lot of times,
nice.
like, I'm just looking for support. It's like, okay,
yeah.
I'll talk to you all night about it. But
that's good advice. That's
when I was younger, dude, it was so hard for somebody to be like, oh man, so and so at work is just driving me nuts, and this and this and that. And my first gut reaction is, okay, well, why don't you just do this?
Yeah.
And it took maturing to realize that was not the thing to do. Yeah. And I feel like that's where you are with the Sophie thing. It's like, sure, you could be like, all right, so we're going to contact lawyers. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And
yes.
But it's like, nope, that's her battle. If she wants and needs help, she'll ask you.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Speaking of, had a maybe the opposite of that. I told you at Maker Camp, and I think we discussed this in the after show. So sorry for the people who aren't privy to the after show discussions. At Maker Camp, I learned to sew. Yeah. You want to talk about this?
You had briefly mentioned it.
Yeah,
but please elaborate more.
Yeah. So, at Maker Camp, they had this whole booth set up where you learn to sew, and I've been wanting to learn to sew for a while. So did it at Maker Camp, kind of got a little bit of a feel for it, just basically like stitched together a pencil case, like nothing crazy at all. But when I got back, I was like, you know what? I'm going to order myself a sewing machine. I deserve it. I'm worth it. So I ordered myself a sewing machine, and then Sophie was kind of curious about it. She was like, oh, you got a sewing machine there, did you? And so we spent the weekend together learning how to use a sewing machine, and we hemmed all the drapes in the house together as a team, as a couple. It was fun.
So first I have to ask, what does hem drapes mean?
Oh, it means so our drapes were too long and they were kind of dragging along the floor and getting all bunched up at the bottom. Okay. So we literally just cut off the bottoms and then like rolled up the seam and then stitched it so it looked nice. Like, like basically made the drapes the perfect length for the space.
Look at you. New YouTube channel?
Yeah, potentially. Zach sews, yeah. Zach threads.
Ooh.
I'm still workshopping the name, but we'll get there.
Okay, so tell me.
Needles, yeah.
Yeah, that could be a different
that can go a couple different ways.
You can mix in some vinyl, some record albums and stuff.
Maybe a little bit of drug use.
Yeah, pharmaceutical exploration. And today I'm going to review the newest weight loss drug, Ozempic. Tomorrow I'm going to be doing cholesterol medication. Maybe doing Crestor. The next day I'm going to be doing an eczema medication. It's just reviewing prescriptions. It didn't work for me the first try, so this one's out. No, but anyway, okay. So tell me. Nerd out on machines for me. So how did you let me form this question. You knowing nothing about sewing.
Yeah.
How did you go about finding the machine? Did you look up YouTube stuff, influencers? Tell me about this. I want to know the whole process.
Yeah. So you're right. I knew nothing about machines. I knew more or less what I needed to do. Like I had this one job in mind, right? So I knew those drapes or the curtains that we were hemming are very thin. So I knew I didn't need a very powerful sewing machine in order to do it. So I just kind of went on Amazon and I looked up I typed in sewing machine. I sorted to something that was like a comfortable price for me. I think the one I bought was like $130 or something like that. So nothing too crazy. I went on to Reddit. I looked up that particular, like the top search result. I saw what people were saying. I adjusted to another one that was very similar. And basically I got a cheap one. I know it's nothing crazy, but I also knew that my needs weren't very crazy. Because basically when you buy a more advanced sewing machine, you're getting more power so that you can go through thicker things. And then so that you can start like weaving in more complex stitches and like multiple threads and stuff like that. But I knew I didn't need any of that.
No.
So I followed our old advice of like, just get the cheap basic one. And then in the future, if you need a more powerful one, you'll know. Like, I don't know if I can, I
Right.
don't think the one I got will go through leather. So, you know, if I ever want to stitch leather in the future, then maybe I did upgrade the machine. But for now, for just doing fabrics, like this one's great. And
In $100?
exactly, right? I use my Amazon gift card. So shout out to all the people who use my affiliate links and videos.
Supporting Zach's new sewing habit.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's awesome. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not throwing anybody under the bus, but Miranda has a sewing machine.
Yeah.
And we were like, you know, fixing some comforters were like the little fabric on the ends, like peeling away or whatever.
Yeah.
And she's over there struggling for like an hour and a half trying to thread this thing or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I used a sewing machine in like 5th grade during like home ec classes or whatever.
Nice.
So I went over there, fired it up. Dude, I say what you will about sewing, but when you get a good stitch going, you feel pretty powerful, man.
Oh, that's nice, man. It's nice. I had, because we were hem and drape, so I had like 4-foot runs of like doing a stitch line, and it was it was basically the same thing as working with a table saw, right? Like I was like kind of like sighting down this long stitch. I was like, okay, like it was fun. It gave me a very similar feeling to ripping something on the table saw, nice and clean.
Yep. Now you got to build like a sewing table because you very quickly learn that doing it on the floor is a nightmare.
Oh, you know what I did? I did it on my kitchen island.
Oh, so the fabric can kind of like
my kitchen island's probably like, let's say 3 feet by 5 feet or 6 feet or something like that.
Sure.
So nice, flat, smooth surface. I was able to lay the fabric out, make my marks, like do all the pins and stuff like that, and then run it through the machine on there.
Okay.
Yeah.
What brand is it?
It's a Brother, which you may know them from making printers, but apparently they also make sewing machines. Yeah, hell yeah, brother.
I wonder.
That's what it says on the side of the machine. Hell yeah, brother.
Start sewing. Hell yeah, brother. Tell they market it to their male audience.
I gotta get a sticker made that says "Hell yeah" and then slap it right above the logo.
Oh, you should. So I gotta know. You got the machine. Did you buy the machine with an intention or a purpose?
To hem the drapes, yeah.
Okay, to hem the drapes.
Yeah.
I didn't know if that was just a byproduct. You're like, oh, I have a project coming up, and then I'm like, oh, but I might as well do the drapes.
No project of mine. Just literally wanted to hem those drapes.
That's fair.
Yeah.
But it's like now it's a new skill. It's a hobby. It's an interest of something that you can just, get into every once in a while.
Exactly. If I ever have a project, well, I was thinking about it. So I just finished my big giant subwoofer.
Yeah, I saw it on Instagram today.
Oh, cool. So one thing I was thinking about was like, you know how a lot of speakers have those like like a fabric screen that goes in front of them. I was like, it might be kind of fun to make one of those for a future one. And I was like, now I could do that. I could even like stitch it so that it was, like a sleeve almost that I wrapped around a frame or something like that.
As opposed to just like stretching it and stapling it and then
instead of doing like a hack job with a stapler, I could actually like make something that was, purpose built and nice and elegant.
I dig it. I think it opens up a lot of possibilities of things that you can do.
Yeah, definitely. And who knows? Maybe someday I'll get into doing a little bit of custom leather work too, and I'll be able to stitch the leather.
Start making mouse pads or something.
Ooh, phone cases.
Ooh, yeah. I dig it.
Yeah.
I think Mandy's got a Husqvarna or something like that.
Husqvarna makes sewing machines?
They do. They make everything.
Are they gas powered? You're like,
imagine a gas powered sewing machine. No, it's not gas powered.
That's cool.
Hey, go ahead, Deric.
I was gonna say it kind of sounds like your experience with the sewing machine reinstates what we say all along about expensive tools. It doesn't necessarily make a better product; it just gets you there faster.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure they have sewing machines. Like, did you look at like top of the line, not commercial level, but like what's the prosumer?
That's a
sewing
great one.
machine.
I saw they went up pretty quickly to the $500-$600 mark, and I
They
was
have
like,
like
well,
touch screens.
yeah, they have touch screens. They have like digital controls for your whatchamacallit, your stitch pattern and stuff like that.
Okay.
And this is just like me looking on Amazon. I'm sure if you go to like an actual store for sewing machines,
Right.
it probably gets a lot more expensive than that.
Do they have any attachments that like make it so? I'm almost thinking of like a table saw fence, right? Do they have
Like an outfeed
attached
table?
Well, like an outfeed table, but something that like makes it so like your fabric doesn't like wander. It like keeps your fabric straight, like those Jessam stock guides for your table.
Oh, I wonder. I don't know. I didn't see anything like that, but I didn't look too closely either.
That'd be pretty gnarly. Or a laser line.
Oh, dude, maybe screw trying to make products for the woodworking world. Maybe we should be making products for the sewing world.
You know, this is probably how a lot of this gimmicky crap gets into woodworking tools. People that have no business with woodworking is just like, you know what would be sick is a circular saw. It has a laser on it. Like
a drill press with a touch screen.
Yeah. Or a drill press with a laser. It's like,
what is that drill press that has a touch screen? I forgot about that.
That's the new
Nova?
Nova.
Well, okay, maybe they do, but I saw, was it not Harvey? What's the other one? Laguna has one that's got like a little touch screen. And
whoa, yeah, look at this.
Like it just came across my feed earlier. Yeah.
$2,000.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I mean, I kind of want it.
But you can like dial in the speed and all that other stuff. It's pretty slick.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this. If I ever get a drill press, it probably won't happen. But if I do.
You got the space now. Come on, do it.
How often am I really going to use it?
Do it. I don't know. I use mine a fair bit. It's kind of a handy tool to have.
If I ever get a drill press, there is no question that I'm going to get one that it just has like a knob that you turn the speed. Because if you think for a second that I'm going to take the time to be like, right, I'm using this bit, it needs to go this fast. Oh, this one needs to go a little faster. That I'm going to open up the top of that and dick around with those belts. You're dead wrong. It'll be at one speed forever.
My old drill press had the belts. Never once even thought about changing them.
You just put it right in the middle of the road, didn't you?
Exactly. Right in the middle of the road and just slam it through whatever material I needed to.
And you probably burned through Forstner best like nobody's business.
I'm sure I did. But I was buying the cheap ones anyway, so who cares?
Yeah. So do you have like a variable speed one now?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I have one of those. It's still kind of a cheap one, but it's one of those Wen drill presses. It's not bad.
Gets the job done.
Yeah.
They're like $100, $150. They're not too bad, huh?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
I've had a few things come up recently where I'm like, I think I need a drill press. But I always find a way around it, and then I get done with the project, and I'm like, I don't need a drill press.
Well, look, everybody has a drill, right?
Yeah.
So there's very few things that you can't do shittily. Oh, there's the explicit.
There it is.
You can basically always do a shitty job with a drill, what you would want to do with a drill press, right?
I just haven't, I guess I haven't reached that point where I need that degree of precision that I can't get close enough to by hand. Yeah.
I think the nice thing about the drill press is if you're ever doing like repeated things, like if you ever like mortising in hinges and a door or something like that, you can set your depth to an 1/8 and just like slam through 20 door or 20. Which side does the hinge? What's the circular cutout? Does that go on the door or does that go on the cabinet wall?
The door.
Okay. Yeah. So you got to bang through like 20 doors.
Yeah.
The drill press is a good machine to have for that.
Yeah. Set up a couple stops. Bang, bang, bang. You're right.
Exactly.
That makes sense. I got one of those
jig
drill guide doodads. Yeah. I've never used it.
You like clamp it onto the door?
Well, no, for doing the doors, the
little blue
hinges.
Craig one.
Yeah, I got that guy works pretty well. You have to 3D print like a dust collection thing on it because all the chips just get jammed in there. It's a nightmare.
Yeah,
I just
didn't think that one through.
Yeah.
But so I use that for hinges, like the Euro hinges or whatever, concealed hinges, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But then there was a couple times where I like, man, I need to drill like straight down holes like a drill press, but I obviously didn't want to buy a drill press. So I picked up one of those like portable things where you like chuck up your drill into it and then just like take it wherever and just like you can, put 90-degree holes in the workpiece at any time. Never used it though. I know Rockler makes one. Woodpeckers has got one. I got the one from UJK.
Okay.
Or from TSO, whatever the hell it is. Never used it though.
Oh, and speaking of new tools, new 3D printer.
Oh,
is that the
A1?
That is the P1S, which I think
do I have that one?
The P stands for Poor Man's X1 Carbon.
Bamboo Labs. Okay, hold on. I have a P1S also.
Oh, you have a P1S? This thing is crazy. Like the fact that this is $800 cheaper than my X1 Carbon over there. It's insane to me because it's the same printer. Like, what are you missing? You're missing like the color touchscreen on it.
Who cares?
And whatever dynamic flow control is, which I
don't work with concrete very often, so I'm not sure.
I've been working with this thing for the last few days now, and it's like I would be perfectly happy having one of these as opposed to X1 Carbon.
I'm pretty sure Travis from Shop Nation almost exclusively uses the P1S now or whatever.
Yeah.
Or the P1P, whatever the hell it is. I don't know.
The body is made out of plastic as opposed to the X1 Carbon's aluminum, I think.
No, okay. But
I don't think you need the dynamic flow control until you get to be about 60.
That was good. I'll give you that one, Deric. That was good.
Yeah, it's working well. Working well. All right, I gotta put it to use. I got some cool new filaments here. Hold on, let me see. I got this stuff, which is PVA. So this is what you would use as a support interface or a support material.
So it's just cheaper?
No, get this. This dissolves in water.
Oh, nice.
So you can print something and you can have like the most complex support structure in the world, and then you just dunk it in a tank of water and you don't have to peel the supports away. They just dissolve away.
What?
Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to testing this stuff out. And as you can see,
you haven't used it yet?
No, it's still in the box, so I haven't used it yet, but I'm very excited to get it.
I'd be curious if there's any residue or texture that gets left behind.
Me too. I will let you know.
I wrote it on the shop notes not shop notes, Jesus. The show notes. I want to get an update on that.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. I also got some transparent plastics too that I'm excited to try out, and gonna milk this bamboo partnership for all it's worth.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah. Have you noticed? They're like, "Do you need anything else?
Yeah.
Like,
they're pretty. I accepted a lower rate from them than I would from other companies because I was just so excited. Like I believe in the product so much.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what? Like I'm just psyched to work with them. But they make it up to you in terms of like they're like whatever you need. Like carte blanche, like just we'll send you whatever. So that's nice too.
And they're super flexible. Because I made a deal with them. I was like, hey, I'll make you guys a short video, send me some stuff or whatever. Yeah. And they're like, hey, when are you gonna be able to do that? And I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm in the middle of moving and doing this. They're like, that's cool. Just give us an update. Let us know. Like, no worries. Sweet. Do you need anything in the meantime? I was like, that's a pretty good partner. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, even if it gets to the point where they don't pay you and you just get product to use and it just as passive placement in videos, like, oh,
sure.
Okay.
Well, they got a pretty good affiliate program.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you're signed up for that, but I signed up for it. And Clayton actually messaged me and he was like, hey, I need a new 3D printer.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, oh, but like, this is the one that I love. And by the way, here's my affiliate code. So my first affiliate sale.
Hell yeah, brother.
Yeah.
Hey, I wanna touch on this real quick. You know what I bought the other day that I'm I'm a little embarrassed to say.
Diapers.
No.
Denture glue.
I bought a piece of furniture.
Nose hair trimmer. Okay.
No, dude, come on. I've had a nose hair trimmer forever. Who doesn't have okay.
Yeah, I think
male over the age of 20 needs a nose hair trimmer.
Yeah, it's so true. So true.
But I bought a piece of furniture off Wayfair.
Oh. I mean, I think Wayfair is a step below IKEA. Generally. Yeah. I have 2 pieces of Wayfair furniture. It's like they get the job done. I mean, they're furnituring, but it's not.
They're furnituring. So
not great.
Our kitchen. The house is from '98, so there's like a dining room, but then inside the kitchen, there's definitely like what you're assuming was supposed to be like a 4-person round like kitchen table area, right?
Okay.
It's no.
Okay.
It would have been like a freestanding one if you'd put it in there. So the kitchen just has like a little extra room kind of towards the back or whatever. And we noticed we're like, man, there's a little bit lack of counter space when we're cooking. So I was like, why don't we get like a kitchen island thing? And then I was like, well, why don't I build one? I go on Wayfair.
Classic maker moment.
Right.
Yep.
I go on Wayfair. Just like, okay, it would be nice to have this like right away. You know, I'm still working on the shop build out. It was $200 for a 2-foot deep by 4.5 foot long island.
Okay, so
Done.
probably half of what you would pay for materials to build it yourself.
Yeah. Easy.
Yeah.
And so I was like, you know what? This isn't a long-term solution. Get it on Wayfair. And I've heard if people get stuff on Wayfair, like if you show up and you're like, it's scratched, you just message them. They're like, here's all of your money back.
Oh, really? Interesting.
I've heard great return stories from them.
Okay.
But man, putting this stuff together, I'm like, dear God, this is why I like never want to buy furniture. I just want to build it all myself.
Yeah.
It's so poorly made.
Yeah. Is it all those like, like little dowels with no glue and then those weird
clamp things?
Yeah, the cam clamp. Is that what that thing's called? Where it's like a half moon that like rotates and grips the head of a screw?
Yeah, and you're like, well, it won't turn anymore, but I wouldn't necessarily say it's tight.
Yeah.
You know?
How many of those have you broken off? I snap them.
Dude.
I snap at least half of them when I get them.
I know. The trick is not to use an impact gun as much as you want to.
Oh, by hand. Yeah. I feel like they've gotten cheaper over time for sure.
Yeah.
If that's even possible.
Yes. Dude, I've had them where the screw is metal, but the actual clamp thing is made out of just the cheapest plastic possible.
Oh, yeah. I noticed that the last couple of years they start coming in plastic.
Now, this was a metal screw and a metal cam clamp, but I definitely still ruined 4 of them.
Yeah. You gotta make sure you're using the right screwdriver head and the stars align and you say a prayer before you do it.
You ever seen those videos where somebody takes like a ball of aluminum foil and then like puts it in like a furnace and melts it down to liquid aluminum and then pours it into like a mold? I'm pretty sure that's how they make those little cam things.
It's just aluminum foil.
Yeah.
That's all those sped up Facebook videos.
Those 5-minute crafts.
Yeah, exactly.
But I bought a piece of Wayfair furniture, and man, it's rough, but it's getting the job done. It's getting the job done.
Yeah, you know what? I have a Wayfair bookcase downstairs, and I keep thinking to myself, man, I should really replace that. But at the end of the day, it's just a thing in the corner of the room that I put books on.
Right.
Yeah, that's what people say about green suitors until they come over here. It gets the job done.
Yeah, true.
They're like, well, the show does suck, but it is available on all streaming platforms. But I guess I'll listen to it. Yeah, it does suck. So that was obviously building that because it's still working on the shop build out. And I have to say, okay, I'm basically at the point now with the garage where I'm going to do like one final skim coat just to like really even things out and get nice and smooth and stuff.
Okay.
Dear God, as someone who's never fully drywalled an entire room before, how the hell does anyone do this without the Planex?
Oh yeah, yeah, it sucks. You got to throw labor at it. You got to just have a crew of like 10 guys, and you go in and we're just gonna say.
daylights out.
I would when I worked construction, I would honestly spend weeks just sanding. That was like all my life was.
With a pole sander, I bet.
With a pole sander, a lot of the time I didn't even have a pole sander. I just had one of those foam blocks.
Oh,
Show up 8 a.m., sand for 4 hours, eat lunch, sand for another 6 hours, go home.
Good God.
Masochist.
That was my life.
But yeah, dude. So obviously my drywall work is not phenomenal. But even if you're awful at it, you can get a good result. It just takes way more sanding, another coat, a little bit more sanding, another coat, right? So like it's starting to look really good.
Good.
But man,
Lots of
I've thrown a lot of labor at this so far.
How are you feeling about the Planex?
Dude, I love it.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. Planex is a million times better than doing it by hand or with a pole sander.
Yeah.
Still a pretty good workout to use that Planex, especially when you're doing the ceiling.
Dude, I'm not doing. After doing all this, I'm like, I'm literally just gonna slap paint on the ceiling and call it a day. I'm not,
okay.
Because the ceiling's, it's not gonna be on camera, right? Like if it doesn't, if it's not perfectly smooth, I really don't care.
That's fair. That's fair. You notice if you look at the ceiling in my shop, it's all TNG pine boards because I was like, I really don't want to sand this, and I actually crunched. I remember the Lowe's near me was having a sale on these TNG pine boards. I remember crunching the numbers and being like, I think it's actually going to be cheaper to do it in pine than it will be to do it in drywall. So I ended up just doing that, and thank God, because sanding the ceiling sucks, even with the Planex. Yeah,
because you just got your neck like just cranked up there forever.
Yes, exactly.
But so it's coming along great. It looks fantastic. I think so. Tonight I'm going to throw just a skim coat on it real quick tonight. Man, the skim coats are way easier.
You know what a good trick is, and maybe you've already been doing this, is get it close, and before you throw another skim coat on, throw a layer of primer on it, because not only will the primer show imperfections better, but it will also lock in what you've done before. Because a lot of time, if you go and you throw another skim coat on it, you can accidentally end up, when you're trying to sand that skim coat down, you end up standing over an area that was like, that you had perfect. And you're like, oh, that line was so nice, and now I just ruined it.
Now you see just a little bit of like the fuzz from the tape coming through.
Or something like that. And then you have to go back and then do another skim coat, and it can be this kind of thing. So the primer kind of locks in what you've done. It's really hard to sand through the primer with the Planex, or any sander for that matter.
Oh, good to know. Maybe I'll do one last coat tonight, throw primer on it tomorrow.
Yes. And if you really want to feel like killing yourself, get a very bright light and hold it perpendicular to the wall and rake that light across the wall, and that will show you every single imperfection in your wall.
No, I don't care that much. It's the garage.
Yeah.
It's the garage.
But that's what I used to do in houses, because you would like plaster an entire room and you'd be like, this looks great when you clock out at 7 p.m. And then you come back the next day
light.
And you get the morning light, and the light's coming in at a very harsh angle through some big open window at the front of your house. You're like, oh my God, this looks horrible. What was I thinking last night?
Yeah.
So
let me ask you this. Skim coat it. You can still kind of somewhat sort of see the tape underneath, but it's completely smooth. Like there's no line.
Yeah.
You good with just throwing primer over that, or do you want the tape completely hidden?
I would say, okay.
I would say it's like 90 to 95% covered.
Yeah,
There's a reason why you see it though.
Yeah, I mean, what I would do is, again, I would prime over the top of it, and if you can see that the primer will like reveal if it's proud of.
Sure.
Sometimes you can just see like a shadow of the tape kind of bleeding through the plaster a little bit, and that's okay.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Yeah. So you might be okay. If it was like just a small area of it and it was my own house, I might say, F it. Like I'll just prime over this and see how it looks.
Garage too.
Yeah, if it was a client's place, I'd probably be a little bit more particular. But yeah, if in a garage in your own house, it'll be okay.
So you're saying primer over it, and then if there are areas I need to hit, you can just put more mud on top of the primer and then another
Yes.
layer of primer, and it's totally fine?
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Primer's made to grip.
Yeah, you're almost better off to get your plaster job or your mud job like 90% done and then prime it, and then plan on just spending like an hour doing touch-ups over the top of the primer.
Get some quick set on and just wipe it on, wipe it off real quick.
Yeah,
Okay.
basically.
Okay, because at that point you're probably just filling in just small gouges with a little bit of mud. It'll be pretty easy to see.
Small gouges, or you might be like, oh, I kind of see a seam there. Like, let me feather that out a little bit. It just reveals a lot of the imperfections a lot better.
Okay. And do I need a special primer for sealing drywall, or will any primer work? Like, I'm going to go to Sherwin-Williams to get a discount. If I just tell the guy, hey, I'm sealing some drywall, he'll be like, I get this.
Yeah, exactly. Tell him you're putting it on bare, like, drywall, and he'll give you the right stuff.
Okay. This primer is a hell of a lot cheaper than paint, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Like $50 for a 5-galloner, $60 for a 5-galloner.
Yeah, exactly. And it'll make the paint go further. Don't trust. I mean, some of the paint and primer in one's like, okay, but honestly, you'll save money by doing primer because you'll end up using less of the paint, which, as you just pointed out, is way more expensive.
Yeah, that makes
I think
sense.
the paint and primer stuff is designed to just go over the top of an already painted surface to eliminate that extra step of priming and then painting again.
Maybe.
Yeah, but it's definitely not for, like, going over raw materials, because that's just going to soak right up.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Well, I had a question for you. So enough drywall work. It's going well.
Okay.
So time lapse footage.
Yes.
So I'm doing some sped up where I'm running the play next on the wall. It's going to be like a 2-second clip, right? So it's just and then I sanded it like done, right?
Yeah.
I've had a hell of a time with the what's this thing? The DJI Action 4.
Okay. Is that the new one? Did that just come out?
I don't know. I've had it for like 6 to 12 months, probably.
Okay, maybe it's the Action 5 that just came out. Okay.
But I've been having a hell of a time getting. Well, when I first started, time lapse footage that didn't look like it was flickering, right?
Yes.
So I know that you have to set your. Hey, how often do you want it to take a photo, right?
Yeah.
And so I would do it like every 60 seconds or every 30 seconds or every 20 seconds, something like that, right? And no matter what, I would still get like that banding.
Yes. So action cameras are notoriously bad for this.
Okay.
I think actually one of the biggest reasons that it's doing that is because action cameras often don't let you set the shutter speed. So how with your camera, you have the shutter angle set to 180 degrees, right?
Yeah.
Or do you have, see, so, and most cameras will let you adjust the shutter speed. But action cameras, because they're meant to be used in a wide variety of different scenarios, especially outside, a lot of the time what they'll do is they'll crank that, the shutter speed way up so they can get very sharp images.
Yeah. So it has pro mode where I can do that in video, but I don't think I can change it in time lapse.
I would dig deep into the settings and see if there's any sort of way you can play with the shutter speed
in time lapse mode.
And then if I were you, I would crank that shutter speed as slow as possible. I mean, ideal, like if you're recording in 30 FPS, obviously it'd be 1/60th of a second.
Right.
But if you might still, depending on your lights, you might still get banding then. So you could even try, because it's a time lapse, it won't really matter as much. You could try going even lower on the shutter speed. You could try doing like 1/30th of a second and seeing if that helps.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
What I've been doing, just because it was pissing me off, is I've just been filming.
Yeah.
I mean,
use your normal camera and then speed up the footage.
No, so I use the GoPro. I'll use the GoPro in video mode or DJI, whatever, the action camera in video mode, because the files are way smaller.
Interesting.
And so
you might check.
It's still taking up a good amount of space, but it's nothing crazy.
You might check to see if your normal camera has a time lapse mode. I think Panasonic's pretty good about that.
It does,
Mm-hmm.
but it requires me to. I have to basically set it up in manual exposure, like photo mode, to do it.
Okay.
And then you have to like set the white balance. You have to like get everything dialed in manually, and it was just more of a pain in the ass. To be honest with you,
kind of annoying. That's fair. That's fair.
But I mean, for something where it's like my time lapse clip is like me of like 10, 15 minutes on a wall, I'm not that concerned about having a 10 or 15 minute clip and just going, whoosh,
yeah.
You know,
and the other thing is, you got a little banding. Is anybody really going to care? They're going to be like, oh, he recorded this with an action camera. It's a little bit of banding because that's just what happens with action
for
cameras.
A 2 or 3 second clip, nobody cares.
Yeah.
If it was a 3-minute long clip, people would be like, this is really annoying.
Yeah, or if it was like A-roll and you have those like weird banding things going on behind you or something like that, might be a little bit weird. But I think for a little time-lapse footage, nobody's going to mind too much.
Nobody really cares.
Yeah.
But that was my question. Hey, I had something I wrote down, speaking of videos, that you had mentioned last week in the after show that you wanted to talk about.
Ooh.
You mentioned a new video platform.
Oh, yes.
Tell me about this. Give me the whole backstory.
So this company approached me, and basically they want to do, well, they do what Voov Media does. So they partner with YouTube creators. They create derivative content of their YouTube videos and place it on other platforms. So they approached me, and I said, you know what? Like, I'm working with Voov. I'm pretty happy with them. Don't really need your services. Well, and so they sent a follow-up email and said, well, we have exclusive access to this new video platform from Microsoft.
Yeah. Okay.
And we could place your videos there. I said, okay, well, that might be something that I would be interested in exploring. So I'm still negotiating the contract with them, but apparently Microsoft has this new platform called Microsoft Start, and apparently they are paying creators and paying quite well for video content to be posted there. Now, I don't actually know where these videos get shown. Like, if you type in Microsoft Start,
I get the content you care about simplified and reinvented. Introducing Microsoft Start.
Yeah, it's like there's information about. I mean, maybe I should download this app instead of just.
Yeah, they do have the app.
News and more. Custom daily updates on topics you follow.
Yeah. So, anyways, it's interesting. I'm gonna look into it. It doesn't seem like it's like video forward. Like, it's not like TikTok or Instagram or your conventional social media. But from the discussions I'm having with this company, it's the same concept. Like, you have a page, people can follow your page, and all these things. So I figured for, zero extra work on my part, I may as well try and like stake out a little bit of territory on this new emerging platform.
Now, is this Motion Society?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So I'm interested to hear how it goes and whatnot.
Yeah.
Now,
so hopefully by the show next week, I'll have a little bit more information for you. Right now, I'm just trying to kind of parse through their contract. I hate reading contracts. You read this thing and you're like, I'm pretty sure I understand this contract, but I could also be signing my entire life away to this company, and I wouldn't really know. Deliberately
vague.
Yeah, so I'm getting some lawyers that I like. I'm calling in some favors with some lawyers that I know. Like, hey, can you take a look at this? Are these people screwing me in any way that I don't realize?
I mean, did you have to? Like, that's smart. It's a smart move. I don't blame you one bit at all for doing that.
Yeah,
I'm all for it. So when you had first mentioned this, my hesitation was like, is this going to be like one of those other platforms that we've heard about within the last year or so, like that like Rumble, and there was another another one, right?
Yeah, I mean,
I'm gonna jump in for 1 second.
Yeah, please do.
Sure, I know you're on Apple, Eric, right?
Yeah.
Zach, you on Microsoft Windows?
Yes, Windows.
Okay.
Yeah.
At the bottom of your start bar, all the way to the left-hand side, there's like your weather. It's got like the little weather icon or whatever on the start bar.
Oh yeah, I have that on my work computer. It within the last like 6 to 12 months of that they started doing that?
So if you go to that, then it pulls up like a morning briefing on Windows.
Oh, interesting.
And there's tabs for discovery, following, and watch and play. And you go to watch, and it looks like a shorts feed almost, or
wait, okay,
something like that.
On my start bar?
Yeah, on your start bar, all the way off to on my left side. I don't know what side it would be on yours.
Oh, over there.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
So
I
have
a lot
like
of this stuff.
The essence of what this app is going to be?
I think that's what it is, because everything I'm seeing online says Microsoft Start was something from a few years ago that was like an MSN replacement. It's like a newsfeed type of thing. And it seems like that's what this is. So then you would be on everybody's desktop, essentially. If they follow you.
Yeah. Cool.
That would be my guess based off of the limited research I've done in the past few minutes.
Yeah, no, that would make sense. My Windows is a little weird. I have like a stripped down lightweight version of it, so that thing doesn't actually work on my main computer. But I'll try it on my laptop and play around with it a little bit.
Yeah, that might be what it is.
Yeah. That would make sense.
Interesting. Hey, I am all for a new competitor out there.
Absolutely.
Not trying to think of the right word. Getting people to be more creative, right? So like TikTok is the newest platform that's done anything. And I mean, we've spoken about how we feel about TikTok. If there's a new platform that gets people's creative juices flowing and like new stuff like that, dude, I am 100% all for it.
Yeah.
I'm all in. So I want to know more about this once you get all settled and situated in there.
Yeah, we'll definitely revisit it. Maybe not next week, but the week after. Hopefully I can get this contract squared away.
Now, is there an issue with being with Voov and then working with these guys for a different platform?
I'll look into it, but I'm pretty sure my Voov contract was very clearly defined as just Facebook.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Now, if I do this thing with Motion Society and it's like it goes so well, I might be like, okay, well maybe they should take over my Facebook page, and then there would be a discussion that I would have to have with Voov. But I'm pretty happy with Voov so far. So I don't know. Yeah.
So I got to ask, because I mentioned this, I think, in the after show, that I got dropped from Voov. Totally 100% understand it. Like the page just wasn't generating a lot of income. Is yours way down?
Yes. And I've talked to multiple other creators. I wanted to pick one of the reasons I wanted to go to Baker Camp was because I know Keith Johnson was
I talked to Keith.
Yeah, so I talked to him about it too, and he was saying the same thing. His wasn't down as much as mine. But he still said considerably down, and a lot of other creators I've talked to have also been way down as well.
Like 50%, 70%, 90% down. What do we?
Ballpark, like at least 50, maybe 75.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So you're saying, hypothetically, you make $100 a month on Facebook. Now you're making like 25.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah.
Which sucks. I mean, it was good money for a few months there, but all of us, and who knows, maybe it'll go back up as it gets towards the holiday. Last conversation I had with Voov, they seemed semi-confident that it would come back at some point, because like my views have actually been pretty consistent, doing at least a couple million views every month, but
that's sweet.
The revenue is just not there anymore. So
yeah.
Yeah,
I had no bad blood at all with Voov. Like we had a conversation, and it was the same conversation that I'm sure you had with them from the beginning. Like, hey, we're going to give your page about 6 months or so to see how it goes. And if it doesn't end up making a lot of money, then we're just going to mutually part ways.
Yeah, I think the calculus is different for them now, because before, I mean, look, if a creator was borderline before, like they were like, okay, they're making enough money to just barely cover the cost of the editing services. It's like, okay, we'll keep them on. But then all of a sudden, if the money is cut in half, or cut in a quarter, into a quarter, then all of a sudden it's a completely different calculus. Like they actually have labor costs on their side, whereas we're just providing the content. Yeah.
That's exactly why I'm not upset about it. It's like, yeah, I realize you have to pay editors to do all this and post stuff and that. Like, if my page made $17, like, of course that doesn't cover your labor costs.
And look, honestly, I'm sure if they had kept tooling with it forever, they could have made your page work. But I'm sure it's a dollars and cents thing. They were probably just like, I bet they were probably pretty panicked, honestly. If as creators we're seeing our revenue, our like bonus revenue drop by 75%, imagine how scared you would be if
that's your main business.
If your entire business revenue dropped 75%, like that would be scary.
Right.
Yeah.
And there was, like I said, there was no bad blood. I talked to Fernanda and I was like, hey, can we revisit this in 6 to 12 months? She said, absolutely, we can.
Yeah.
So it's 100% like a business thing. Like, I get it.
Let me ask you this.
Sure.
Now that you're a free agent, are you going to approach Motion Society?
So I had a conversation with Motion Society during the whole debacle that I had with not being able to monetize on Facebook.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah, definitely.
Where I long story short, I had all the green check marks, I had all the qualifications, and month after month after month for almost 2 years, I would apply for in-stream ads, which is what Zach and I are talking about, that gets you, paid on Facebook. And it would just say in review or denied, or you didn't meet criteria, but I met all the criteria. So I talked to them when I was going through that, and I was like, hey, do you have any people that would be able to help? And they're like, no, not really. Their suggestion was actually to delete the page and start a brand new one.
Interesting.
So I have talked to, I forget the guy's name, for Motion Society. He has an accent like a French or like European.
It's a French company.
Yeah. Is it a French accent? I don't know.
It's a French company. I know that all the contract I was reading was like pursuant to the French law on media or something like that. That's great. I was like, damn, now I had to look up the stupid French law to fully understand this contract.
Yeah. So I had a conversation with that guy, but it was 100% based on the, hey, would you be able to help me get monetized? We didn't at all discuss like video production or anything like that. So.
Okay. Well, now that you're on the other side, though, now that you're monetized,
potentially,
potentially.
Yeah, I don't know if would it be shady for me to just be like, oh, well, Voo, if you drop me, I'm going to go to these people, and
I don't think so. I don't think that's shady. Like they've said that they're kind of done with the relationship, right?
Yeah, that's as fair as a move on their end, not a move on my end.
Yeah, it's like when your ex-girlfriend breaks up with you, you don't have to then consult her before you start dating somebody new.
What do you mean? I still consult my ex-girlfriend on stuff that I do with my wife.
Oh, well, all right.
Can you imagine how weird that would be? What a weird relationship dynamic.
That would be.
I mean, she's your ex-girlfriend.
Yeah. Sophie's like, Zach, do you want to go to dinner tonight? And you're like, hold on.
Check with my ex.
Let me call my ex from high school real quick.
Yeah.
No, she said it was good. Yeah, we're good.
Okay.
Oh my God, that would be so weird. That'd be so weird. But hey, we want to give a huge shout out to all of returning top tier patrons. And special announcement. I know it's late. Our apologies. So these are our returning top tier patrons. We've got Joe Welsh at Delaware Valley Workshop. Happy belated birthday, my friend.
That's right. Happy birthday, Joe.
Yeah. We've got Goblin Spanker, Corey Duvall, Josh at Sawdust Builds, and maybe Dadu if he figured out his payment, but he's still supporting us in spirit.
And he's also working on my website right now. So yes.
I'm excited to see that.
You know what I did? No.
You WooCommerce or whatever.
WooCommerce, yeah, because it's free and I don't really sell that much stuff on my store. But you know what? I pulled up your website. I said, that's what Eric has. I want you to make that, but just replace my face where his is.
That's fine. You like mine? Is mine? I think mine looks better than it did before.
Definitely. I'm not obviously directly copying yours like that, but I looked at your website. I looked at Scott's website. I looked at John Cesarno's website. I looked at like a bunch of like kind of creators in our space who I think did a good job with their sites, and I'd like pick and chose little elements from each one.
Keep it simple.
Yes. Yeah. The last discussion we had, I was like, do I need an about page? Like, it's just like, hey, I'm Zach and I like building stuff. It's like, let's get rid of this. You don't need that. And then, all these things. Just strip it all out.
Do I have an about page? I don't know if I do. I think I might. I don't know.
Some of these things, it's like, yeah, you do have an about page.
Okay.
Like, it's like Eric Spenceley. It's, there's even a picture of you proposing to Miranda.
Oh, nice. It's a good one. But, I don't know. Keep it simple. So, like your homepage, whatever. So I go on zachbills.com. Boom. What am I seeing?
Immediate video playing me working.
Muted.
And,
Muted, right?
Muted. Yeah. Of course. Oh, please.
Thank God. Yeah.
And then
not a MySpace thing.
I think it's kind of similar to yours. Like it gets right into the you scroll down, you see the shop. And then you see a link to blog posts because I'm going to have blog posts on it.
Okay.
I'll show you. We'll do it. You know what? Assuming Dadu finishes it between the next show and now, maybe we'll do a little live tour on the show.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm in for it. But if you want to hear more from us, we're going to head over to the after show, which is an entire another podcast directly after this. And
that's right.
You just go over to patreon.com/offthecut podcast. And this is the number one way to stake your claim against the Green Series podcast, the worst podcast in our space. So that's where we're heading. We'll be at the after show and catch you guys next week.
See ya.
Happy birthday, Joe.